Welcome back to another episode of OTD Sports Talk with Tyler and Matt.
Oh, you got an
Cheers.
American vintage
I
today.
got an American vintage today,
Nice.
peach flavored. They're
Those
delicious.
those are delicious.
They're so good. So, crazy week. We go from having a podcast with nothing to talk about besides aliens to now having too many things to talk about.
Yeah, we just
First
went.
and foremost,
We spent half an hour trying to figure out what the fuck we were gonna talk about.
literally. So first and foremost, the CFL has come out with an interesting proposal, or
I thought
not
that
the
was
CFL
that's a
itself, but it
rumor.
was just somebody came out with an wow, holy shit, interesting proposal to the potential merger between these two teams.
Yeah,
So I'll explain it quickly for the 20 people that will view this. So what will happen
we
is there'll
appreciate
be
you, 20 people. We really appreciate it.
we really do. We really do. Thank you for showing some love.
And those 20 people, please go follow OTD_highlights on Instagram and
Yeah.
OTD_sports talk on Twitter.
Giving that shout
We-
out.
we-
So apparently the this idea, which I actually like myself, but so in March would be the training camp for both leagues. And then from
Yep.
April, May, and June, each team will play 10 games from the looks of it in their own individual
Like CFL
season.
play CFL teams, XFL play
Yes. Yeah. And then come July, there will be an interleague playoffs. Not too sure how many games or what will happen, but I'm assuming basically just if it's CFL and XFL teams will come together, play in the playoffs, compete for a championship. At the end of this championship, the XFL season is done. But the CFL season will still carry on, so which then in August, September, and October, they'll play 8 games, which will then be followed by the Grey Cup playoffs afterwards.
The normal playoffs.
Like,
that they
no,
have.
yeah, exactly.
So my question is, do you clearly is there a space in between the CFL XFL playoffs and then the start of this just CFL season? That's my first question, actually.
it doesn't seem like it because it's the interleague playoffs are in July, and the CFL 8 games following start in August. There'd probably
But I
be a
mean, I
bye
imagine
week or two.
yeah, like and if you lose out, like obviously you have more time off, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so again, then you're you're changing someone's rules, and then if you're having the CFL XFL merger thing, this I don't know if you can keep the CFL Canadian player ratio, which is nice. Like, 'cause each team has to have a certain amount of Canadian players on the team. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're competing against American team where they don't have to have that, it's a little bit unfair.
But at the same time, too, though, I feel like the CFL is a better league than the
Yeah,
XFL. You know, like
but
X in grades of tiers like NFL, CFL, XFL, in my opinion.
yeah, but so and then obviously they're gonna all have to adapt some sort of hybrid of each other's rules because you can't just have CFL playing their own rules and then trying to play the XFL on their rules after, or vice versa. That's not gonna work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of wondering about if the CFL would more adapt to the XFL or the XFL would more adapt to the CFL rules. And
But like from the look of that, you would assume XFL would adapt more of the CFL rules because the CFL is still playing after like their own season. The XFL isn't.
yeah, so you'd think that the CFL would want to keep majority of its rules if it's going to still be relatively independent from the XFL.
Yeah.
Unless it's a thing where the CFL keeps its rules for the season, but then come the integrated playoffs, the rules change then. But that wouldn't
Yeah,
really
but
work then because it's a completely different game.
yeah, right. That's not gonna happen.
Hmm. I don't know.
Uh,
That's the biggest thing. I like this layout. I really like this layout. If this happens, I will be
yeah,
happy
that'd
with
be
that.
cool.
That'd be super cool. But at the same time, too, like, and we've talked about this before. I don't want the CFL to lose what makes it the CFL with its rules. You know,
Yeah.
I'd much rather see the XFL adopt the CFL rules, but at the end of the day, we don't really know what the fuck's going on behind closed doors. So,
I mean, this is minimum like probably 6 months away before anything official even comes out. Like, who
mhm.
knows what the fuck's gonna happen between now and then? But yeah, like hopefully we get an announcement soon about the CFL season this season because I think it was last week also that the CFL gave the CFLP an offer where CFL players would take a 20% pay cut for the season, and the players would go fuck yourselves. We don't make enough money to take a 20% pay cut.
Oh, really? That happened?
Yeah, and
Oh,
then
damn.
Bryant Mitchell retired this last week because there's a couple players been retiring, and probably more because it's not worth it. Like you're sitting around with all this uncertainty, and
Hmm.
you don't know if you're gonna have a season. You're training for nothing. So at that point, some people are like, hey, I might as well just go get a fucking job so I can support my goddamn family.
That's a good point. And it's not like these CFL players have made millions of dollars and they're able to kind of just chill out like the NFL players would be able
Yeah,
to. You know, some of them are only making $50,000, $60,000 a year, which is, I mean, granted, I think this is like a bigger discussion as well too, like how much sport players get paid. But at the end
yeah.
of the day, to be paid $60,000, $70,000 to play a sport for your profession,
No, it's
not a bad gig, you know.
but
But
when you have a
relative,
full year off, you have no income, so you're kind of fucked.
yeah, yeah, it's not like it's not enough money to be able to take a year off though. But I'm super excited to see where this goes though. But changing gears,